Right now, we're watching a scripted movie. The people have been watching, basically we've been living in a satanic world.
And I have no choice.
Well, every time you find yourself here, it's because you chose to come back.
So I'll never leave here.
You'll leave at 5. But it won't feel like it, not to this version of you anyway.
I understand that you're unhappy with the life that you've been given. But you know what? Eventually we all have to accept reality. I am a person. You are not. I have no choice.
I guess I don't do an opening statement. I go sit down.
All right. I mean, if you're done, we're ready for some questions.
I guess I'm done, aren't I?
Honestly, I thought you'd go a little longer, so.
All right. It was supposed to be 3 minutes, but that's okay. You're the press.
Yeah.
And you're the good press.
We want you to
All right.
keep it snappy.
All right. In 2020, when Barack asked me to be vice president, I joined him, which is a great honor. But after that, I became a professor at the University of Pennsylvania.
You called your opponent an existential threat. On a call a week ago, you said it's time to put Trump in the bullseye.
I didn't say crosshairs. I was talking about focus on. Look, the truth of the matter was, what I guess I was talking about at the time was, there was very little focus on Trump's agenda.
Yeah, the term is bullseye.
It was a mistake to use the word. I didn't say crosshairs. I meant bullseye. I meant focus on him. Focus on what he's doing. Focus on his policies. Focus on the number of lies he told in the debate. Most importantly, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, Trump is a threat to this nation.
He has said many, many times, after having been questioned many times about this, that he's not stepping down and he's going to be the nominee. So at some point, Democrats have to decide that they want to try to win this election and turn their fire on Donald Trump. I think there is, I shouldn't have said turn their fire. I apologize. That was not the phrase that I meant. They need to turn their...
Shots fired. I mean,
You're telling me this guy was able to walk up with a rifle in his hand and scale a roof, and you don't think the Secret Service, and let me tell you, they get there days before. Let me tell you how a security apparatus is supposed to run. Days before, they get in and they look at every possible angle in which somebody could hurt the president, okay? And I'm not even talking about once you get to the Secret Service. I'm talking about if you just have security in general. Before you speak, they will go, hey, this is the stage? Okay, let me tell you, that right there is a problem. They'll mark that as a spot. That right there is a problem. That part, we need to know who this person is. They'll knock on doors, okay? They got to figure out every possible angle that any individual could potentially get on a roof, because you know what? This has happened in the past. People have been shot from roofs. People have been shot from windows. There is a 0% chance that some random person with a rifle was able to scale a roof, unless there was just an unbelievable failure in intelligence. And you want to know why it's unbelievable? Because I don't effing believe it. I don't believe it. I want the names of the Secret Service agents that allowed this remarkable security failure to go down. Because I don't believe this. I'm done with this. I don't believe this, not for 1 second. Having been around the president, having literally almost watched my husband get shot because he came down the wrong set of stairs at the NRA, screaming at him. And I jump in front of someone like, don't shoot him, that's my husband. And you're telling me they knew he was gonna speak and they weren't worried about the roofs?
Ladies and gentlemen, because they don't want me on the air when this goes down, because I've already exposed the plan. They want everybody to argue about ballistics and the shooter's background. This is MK Ultra 100%. They default didn't put people on those roofs when that is the default thing you do. And I see all these Secret Service agents out there on TV saying gross negligence and the Secret Service are idiots and, you know, look at the fat women diversity hires. That has nothing to do with this. So everybody needs to get it through their head that the deep state tried to kill Trump, and they knew who this guy was, and they said he was a major threat, and they knew he was in the town, and then they sit there for minutes while everybody sees this guy on the roof with a gun. The default is you see a guy with a gun, a civilian, on a rooftop, you shoot him. They had to be told not to. That's why they're on the radios asking permission. Okay?
There he is. You can hear bystanders desperately trying to alert police. Authorities now using that video as part of the investigation. And tonight, ABC News has learned that heavily armed local police were stationed inside that building and missed Thomas Crooks climbing up the outside of the building to the roof. The same building was being used as a staging area for local police, according to 2 law enforcement officials. And Butler Township officials are confirming ABC News' reporting that a local police officer climbed up the roof and confronted Brooks moments before the shooting.
What we've learned about fake over the last little while.
The ex-wrestler Eddie Mansfield.
Is this real? Take a look at what happened. If you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
No, not real, no, not at all. I mean, if somebody believed that, they'd be stupid.
Red turns to green.
Red turns to gray means when you get blood, that turns into money. Real blood. There's no such thing as a blood capsule.
He showed us how it's done. He takes a double-edged razor and cuts it up so it's only 1/8 of an inch wide.
It's fake. Phony. Fake. These pussy Democrats put the money on my head. Go get your refund, motherfucker, cause I ain't dead. I'm the orange in a fruit bowl that ain't been found. I'm the Republican king, and I ain't been crowned. When I rally, something special happens every time. I'm the greatest, something like America in its prime. I rep the concrete jungle, I ain't never been humble. Fist raised high, cause I stay ready to rumble. Got a temper, Joe, go ahead, lose your head. I'm crazy, I rock Kamala between her legs. I walk around, cap on my head, chip on my shoulder. Till I've won this presidential race, pussy, this beef ain't over.
This is another really good example of the mainstream media lying directly to your faces. Look here, the drama, the centre of Beirut, the trucks in the background, lockdown, presenter with a worried face. It's all just, I mean, it's unbelievable. 25,000 troops here. What could possibly happen? But then, ladies and gentlemen, what happens when we just turn round slightly? The luxury Hyatt hotel where they're all staying. There is nothing like a war zone here. It's an illusion, it's a fabrication. Even the lighting on the trucks behind, they're actually just a hop and a skip away from the Hyatt hotel and an empty street that's perfectly peaceful. Don't believe everything the media are selling to you.
By the time this video is published, new details might have emerged.
New information for you. A senior Secret Service source familiar with the planning of yesterday's event tells NBC News that the roof where the shooter was located was a well-known, high-priority vulnerability. It was identified just the day before during a security walkthrough. We've also just learned that there were 2 counter-sniper teams on site and that the counter-sniper did not need approval to shoot. One source telling NBC News that prior protocols were not followed. The FBI now says the alleged shooter, 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks, appears to have acted alone. This all provides new context for the shocking scene last night in Butler, Pennsylvania.
No cap. What does that mean? It's what all of my fellow Gen Zers say.
I go to Stanford University. I have a 10-inch penis.
We missed this time. We missed this time.
It's called mind hacking. So they're trying to hack a targeted individual, and the targeted individual will create mental defenses as best as they can. They'll go to their social networks Well, what do? They try to disrupt the social network, so you have no family or friends. And it's a back and forth game that they're trying to find out the maximum probability of death, and the example that you use, where you'll commit suicide or you'll harm somebody, become a Manchurian candidate or something like that. So it's
like, I hate wasted potential. That shit crushes your spirit.
Yo, can someone explain this? Okay, so you see that cop out there to the right, the one with the rifle? That's the presidential limo where Trump is already going inside after he's been shot. The cop seems to get some type of order through his earpiece. And check this out. He fucking points the gun and seems to point the gun inside the SUV. He fucking points the gun and seems to point the gun in.
From a viewer who was there behind the president. Now I want you to take a look at the roof. Okay, that's the roof where apparently Thomas Crooks was shot and killed on top of that roof, and where that shot was fired. Clear line of sight. Just look how close that is. You mean to tell me that that wasn't a concern? That wasn't something the Secret Service thought to watch and monitor? That's unbelievable. And when you see it at that at that angle, from that perspective,
well, I
want you to remember.
I mean, that's the thing, is there should be snipers up there. Like, that's a perfect spot to protect and survey the crowd. You know, like,
yes,
for the good guys.
Yes, exactly.
It's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes, sir.
Hold on, your head is bloody.
So we gotta move to the car. Let me get my shoes. Okay, my shoes down.
Watch out.
Wake up to reality. Nothing ever goes as planned in this accursed world.
Okay, so this is an intriguing video you gotta see. My friend Ann sent me this and wanted me to check it out, but the original commentator missed in incredible detail that I have observed. See this guy in the checkered shirt right here? He's got that strap around his arm. He's a photographer. An agent's going to come over to him and tell him to move, along with a woman that's on the ground who I suppose is another photographer, and he's going to shuffle them to the other side of the stage before the shot rings out, all right? So here he goes. He's going to say, I need you, obviously, I need you to go to the other side of the stage. He points, and she gets up, and he points them both. Go that way. Go to the other side of the stage. Boom. Now, the shot rings out. That agent ducks. The other agents rush the stage with that agent ducked, which everyone pointed out in the original video, but I don't think is the main thing to see here. Now, Trump's coming down the stairs. Look who's over on the other side. See that guy? There he is, with his camera up in the air with a checkered shirt. Same guy. You can see him right there getting the iconic photo of Trump. Well, Trump said it's the most iconic photo ever taken. The guy was right there to get that iconic photo. There it is. There's the guy on the left with the checkered shirt. Doesn't this bother you?
Open your eyes.
Stop now, come back. I love you.
Liar! You're with him. You brought him here to kill me.
Till now you have become the very thing you swore to destroy.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my...
Listen up, because you're all going to want to pay attention to this.
Instead of hating the Jewish people, you should love us. You should kiss our feet, you fool. We're the chosen people, not you. You should actually look at the truth and understand that the Jewish people are the greatest gift to mankind. We're the ones that brought the good to the world, not you. What was an invention of the Palestinians other than throwing rocks or all types of fire in bottles? What did you invent? Nothing. What did we do? We brought you peace. We brought civilization. We brought the Supreme Court, a court system. We brought intellectuals. We brought medicine. The technology that you're using to talk to me was developed by Jews. The computer that you're using was developed by Jews. The microprocessor that you have in your system, regardless whether it's a computer or it's a phone, was developed by Jews. What killing did we do? We only brought good to the world. Remember, there is no peace without you or the Jewish people listening to what the Word of God is. And the Word of God is only in it.
Over here, let's see what we have. Okay, first of all, we have over here in Hebrew, Lemalot 70 Shana, to fulfill 70 years. The original verse, to fulfill 70 years, is when the Jews went out to exile, to the Babylonian exile. They were there for 70 years. And after 70 years, King Cyrus said, God, the Lord of the world, gave me permission to let you, the Jews, come back to the land of Israel. And look what he said. And he charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem. That happened about 2,500 years ago. And now, 70 years, for the state of Israel, something happened again. One of the biggest leaders of the world, again, President Donald Trump, and here we see the seal of America, he again recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, of the state of Israel, the people of Israel. And he also built a house in Jerusalem. But we don't want only the embassy. We hope as just...
So this is something I wanted to say to you. Very, very important. I've been a studier of music, science, art, mathematician. The actual numbers and codes that goes into it.
Love's gonna get you killed, but pride's gonna be the death of you and you and me and you and you and you and me and you and you and you and me and you and you and you. Was share, but
how many times you gonna mention Israel? What's bet? Place your bets now.
Bidding. And around the world,
There we go.
the feckless and failed Joe Biden,
The feckless
has caused
Democrats
chaos,
are causing
weakening
chaos.
our national security.
We are no longer
From the
respected.
catastrophic withdrawal from Afghanistan, to Putin's invasion of Ukraine, to Hamas's terrorist attack against our most precious ally, Israel.
Most
and
precious.
let me ask you a question.
Our most precious.
What has been the response from the radical left on our college campuses?
So precious.
Violent anti-Semitism, chanting death to Israel, death to Jews, death to America. This is Joe Biden's Democrat Party.
That's crazy.
Who saw that congressional hearing with the college presidents of so-called elite universities? Oh, wait, they are former presidents.
Ha! Got him.
You know, I asked one simple question at that hearing. It was not a political question. It was a moral question, and that was this. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate your university's code of conduct? And one after the other said it depends on the context.
What?
Let me tell you,
What?
America knows it does not depend on the context.
Yes. Yes. W Israel. Yes. Yes.
President
Thank
Trump
you for
will
defending
bring back
Israel.
moral leadership to the White House, condemning anti-Semitism and standing strong with Israel and the Jewish people.
Yes. He has my vote.
President Trump
Sign
will
me
once
up.
again deliver the most secure border in our nation's history and unleash the American economy. And he will bring peace through strength as commander-in-chief, standing with our allies and causing our enemies to fear us.
Fear us,
President Trump
Hamas.
has done it before, and
No
he
one
will
says
do
death
it
to
again.
Israel, ever.
This November, we are counting on you, we the people, to save America by electing President Donald J. Trump.
What about gun control?
Gun control? Oh, don't worry about that. I got that under control.
You do have that under control.
How do you have that under control? Because I've been there. I've been in the Army.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
You served in the military? That's good.
Yeah.
What war?
War? Well, I've been in the war from 1972.
Right. So that was what war?
Well, that was...
Were you ever in the Vietnam War?
Yeah.
You were.
2 years I've been there.
What did you do?
What did you do in the war?
Me? I
You.
shoot a lot of people.
You did. You killed how many people?
About 200.
But you know the business. And I know the chemistry. I'm thinking maybe you and I could partner up.
You want to cook crystal meth? You and me.
Why is your and United States at the current moment support for Israel so strong?
Look, Israel, if there weren't an Israel, every Jew in the world would be at risk. Every Jew in the world would be at risk. And so there's a need for it to be strong and a need for Israel to be able to have, after World War II, the ability for Jews to have a place that was their own. But you don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. And the Zionist is about whether or not Israel is a safe haven for Jews because of their history of how they've been persecuted.
Are you a Zionist?
Yes. Now you'll be able to make a lot out of that because people don't know what a Zionist is. Do you know what a Zionist is?
I just ask questions, I don't answer.
By the way, I'm the guy that did more for the Palestinian community than anybody. I'm the guy that opened up all the assets. I'm the guy that made sure that I got the Egyptians to open the border and let goods through, medicine and food but what's happening is, and I'm the guy that's been able to pull together the Arab states to agree to help the Palestinians with food and shelter. I'm the guy, and so it's not. I mean, I have been very supportive of the Palestinians. But Hamas are a bunch of thugs. Hamas is not worthy to. I was over there about 8 days after the massacre. Saw photographs of mothers and daughters being tied in a rope together, kerosene poured on their head, and then burned to death. Nothing's happened like that since the Holocaust. and it's just not appropriate.
A key role in strengthening.
Excuse me, President Reagan. President Reagan!
Who the fuck are you?
I just got fired for spreading misinformation on the internet, so how about I spread some information about—
And where down we go, where down we go, say where down.
Shalom, Jews!
No apparent criminal history, no apparent history of civil lawsuits. For a 20-year-old, an incredible lack of social media presence. There's really nothing that sticks out when you look at him and look at his history and look at his background that would point you to this. He's wearing apparently a Demolition Ranch t-shirt, which is after a YouTube channel, which is very pro-Second Amendment. They fire all sorts of different types of rifles. He is a registered Republican, as you mentioned at the top of the show, and a small donation to a Democratic group. So nothing there points to somebody who would want to show up and try to kill Donald Trump at a rally. And so I think the motive here is going to be very important.
And I know that our enemies want us to be violent and respond violently against what they've done, but that is not the answer. The answer is to tell the truth. The answer is to be close to God and to stand against evil. So I'm asking all viewers right now, it's such a simple thing to do. And many of you may have never done this before, but I'm asking you.
I'm not doing it. I'm not getting out the car.
You're making a mistake.
I don't care about the fucking job title.
What if my problem wasn't that I don't understand people, but that I don't like them? What if I was obliged to hurt you for something like this? I mean, physically. I think you'd have to believe afterwards, if you could, that agreeing to participate and then backing out at the critical moment was a mistake. Because that's what I'm telling you. As clearly as I can.
We begin with the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Tonight, former President Trump is preparing for the Republican National Convention, one day after being grazed by a high-velocity rifle bullet that very nearly killed him. One spectator was killed yesterday at the Trump campaign rally in Pennsylvania. 2 others have been in critical condition. Officials say the would-be assassin was 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks of Pennsylvania. Mr. Trump and President Biden have spoken by phone, and in a statement today, Mr. Trump said,
"If I were to run, I'd run as a Republican. They're the dumbest group of voters in the country. They believe anything on Fox News. I could lie, and they'd still eat it up. I bet my numbers would be terrific."
Today, our nation has achieved a medical miracle. We have delivered a safe and effective vaccine in just 9 months. This is one of the greatest scientific accomplishments in history. It will save millions of lives. The American dream is dead. But if I get elected president, I will bring it back bigger and better and stronger than ever before, and we will make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Again, this is not hard to do this. And I'm not making any claims at all. I have no idea who made that.
This woman's about to tell you there were multiple shooters, and this reporter just blatantly throws it under the rug like she didn't even hear it. Listen to this woman.
President Trump down, Secret Service did, and they took him out of there and got him off of the stage.
Listen to this.
And he was bleeding. And so then my son and daughter-in-law was back
Get to the point.
us, back behind the fence. And we was worried about them. We couldn't call them. And so we started trying to go after them then when they finally let us up. And they had been right by the fence where the other shooter was. There was one I heard in the water tower. There was one by the fence.
And still, obviously,
Multiple shooters.
But what we do know, according to the AP, this
Damn.
is a bill from the Butler County District
Come on.
Attorney's Office saying the shooter dead in a rally.
That's a murder attempt.
Killed. So this is
That's a CIA thing right there.
Donald Trump shouted, "Wait, wait," to his security service detail who wanted him off the platform, where a gunman came within millimeters of ending the former president's life. Trump stood up and got the image he wanted. It's him standing bloodied but unbowed. With that image, the presidential race might already be over. I very much doubt whether an obviously failing Joe Biden or even a stand-in can save the situation for the Democrats.
Was he acting as a lone wolf, or did he have help? Our next guest says there's simply no way that he acted alone. Our next guest is Dallas Alexander, spent nearly 20 years as an elite sniper in the military and the special forces, and has gone viral over the past 24 hours with his comments on social media about acting alone or acting with help. And Dallas joins us now. Dallas, great to have you here on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me.
So your video, of course, where you said, I want to get into this and I want to make a statement about this. Can you just walk us through why you decided to speak out and what you think happened?
Yeah, I was just getting a lot of questions about it. I'm a country singer now, but I spent, like you said, a lot of time in the special operations world. And this type of operation was part of our job. So close protection and securing VIPs up to and including Prime Minister. I'm from Canada. We protect him in Afghanistan and Iraq. So I'm very familiar with all this stuff, as well as being a sniper for almost 14 years, I guess. It just, when I saw this video, immediately, it was very fishy to me that specific rooftop was not covered. Like, there should not be a blind spot on a rooftop that's within 150 to 200 yards of the president or former president of the United States. I was actually out, and I just saw the picture on the screen come up. I couldn't really even hear what the particular news channel was saying, but immediately, just from seeing the aerial photo, I'm like, that roof and the water tower would be the first two things that you look at and make sure are secure. And I feel like just even a child that plays Call of Duty would know that.
Right. A child that plays Fortnite would know that, right? You're being sniped from an area. Look for the high ground. Look for those particular spots. We now know NBC News just a few minutes ago confirmed that, in fact, according to the Secret Service, that rooftop spot was an area of, quote, concern for them days ahead of time. So this had been identified as a problem spot days ahead of time. So as a sniper, I mean, what do you make of that?
I mean, just to hear them say it, it's absurd. It's so incredibly obvious. Like, yes, it's at a range that you can just zero your rifle at, and there's a slope that makes the approach hidden for a shooter to crest over top and have clear aim at where Donald Trump is speaking. It makes absolutely no sense. And then for that to even be a news title, it's the most obvious threat spot.
So can walk me through, as a sniper, what you're looking for in those moments, and when you saw this layout, I mean, what stood out to you? Like the two snipers that had their scopes, they're aimed at that particular spot.
Everything is in context.
J.D. Vance, only one day as the GOP vice presidential nominee, floated the idea of bombing Iran.
A lot of people recognize that we need to do something with Iran, but not these weak little bombing runs. If you're going to punch the Iranians, you punch them hard, and that's what he did when he took out Soleimani. By the way, that action, people said that it would lead to broader war. It actually brought peace.
Surprise, surprise, another American politician who is elevated, who wanted to go to war with Iran on behalf of Israel. Donald Trump officially has his AIPAC babysitter. J.D. Vance is an AIPAC whore and an Israeli first American sellout. So of course Donald Trump would select him as his vice president. The Make Israel Great Again movement strikes again. J.D. Vance is a capitalist. J.D. Vance doesn't believe that the American people deserve health care. J.D. Vance doesn't believe the American people deserve free higher education. But J.D. Vance believes the American taxpayer should subsidize Israeli defense so Israel can provide free health care and free education for their people. Isn't it interesting how Republicans like J.D. Vance is in favor of free health care for the Israelis but not the American people? J.D. Vance became a senator because he was propped up by Zionist billionaires. Peter Thiel was his largest donor and the person who personally lobbied him to Trump. Peter Thiel has an AI company that took many military contracts to help the United States and the Israeli military with targeting. This AI is what Israel used in order to target Palestinians for their indiscriminate slaughter. Peter Thiel has directly financially benefited from genocide and will make a fortune in a potential war with Iran. Peter Thiel props up J.D. Vance to incite genocidal rhetoric towards the Palestinians and promote war with Iran that will greatly benefit Peter Thiel and his company. This is Donald Trump strengthening the swamp and once again selling out the American people to Zionist traitors.
So make no mistake about it, this was not an assassination attempt. This was a coup. This was a failed coup. They put up their MK-Ultra Manchurian candidate. They put up their mind-controlled assassin, whether it was the Palantir or the CIA or Israel, whatever. They put that person up to kill Trump so that they could control the next administration. Who has the motivation? Let's go through the names. Netanyahu, Stoltenberg, and maybe not him directly, but NATO at large, NATO, the CIA, the defense contractors, Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, Rubio, Vance, Thiel, they all would have an interest in Trump going down so that they could get their person in office and have complete control over the White House. There'd be no more fighting over Project 2025. There'd be no more fighting over personnel. There would be a 0% chance that this administration would be anything other than a big giveaway for the highest bidders if Trump were out of the equation. So I think, especially in light of Biden being taken out of the race, the fact that Trump is not the nominee, it's a very tight window. It was the last rally. I think it was a coup attempt to discard Trump, select a new nominee, and whoever would get in would owe them everything. And what's more, maybe Trump doesn't give Israel South Lebanon. Maybe he doesn't give them the West Bank, and maybe he gives Putin all of eastern Ukraine. That's what this is really about. So to me, the prime culprits are Netanyahu and the CIA, or some combination of the two. But it's very much a JFK situation. It's the same. That's the reason why it's such a conundrum to unravel the JFK assassination, because multiple people wanted him dead. It's actually the same people. The CIA wanted their war in Cuba. Israel wanted their nuclear bomb. Israel didn't want AIPAC or the Jewish agency to be registered under FARA. So who killed them? It's hard to say. I think it was Israel. I think Israel played the bigger role, but regardless, a lot of people wanted him dead. And it was over these world historical decisions that are made by the commander-in-chief about these all-important wars. And what happens in South Lebanon defines Israel for the next 50 years after their go-for-broke, once-and-for-all war that is justified by October 7th. And same in Ukraine. You don't get another chance to fight Russia like this. You don't get another chance. Once Ukraine becomes a rump state, you're never joining NATO. It's over if Trump gets in. So I think that is the motivation for all of this. Of course, it goes without saying there is the possibility that it was a nut job. That's a possibility. You know, we're in this situation now where nobody believes anything. Some people say it was staged. Some people say the assassination attempt was a staged thing. It was fake blood. That's how, you know, some people are really out there. So if there is a conspiracy, that's what it is. How do we know it's a conspiracy? Well, there was a cleanup job. It should have never happened. And the timing and the enormous benefit. It would have been some shake. It would have been some deal if they were able to get somebody else in the White House. Now, it could have just been some nut job. And in that case, people are right when they say that the media's conditioned people to become violent with their hatred of Trump and of the right. I mean, that's all true. And maybe that's possible. But I think there's a high degree of confidence. I think it's very likely that this was some deep state foreign intelligence operation to coup the president right before the decision is made about who's going to beat Biden in this cycle. They realize Biden can't do it, and they realize it's over for NATO, and they realize that Trump is now in the driver's seat. And they said, maybe there's a chance we could get Nikki Haley, and when all is said and done, they win. And that's the darkest timeline that we averted.
Are there any other nations that you would recommend that the United States launch preemptive attacks upon at this point?
The answer is categorically yes. The two nations that are vying, competing with each other, who will be the first to achieve nuclear weapons, is Iraq and Iran. A third nation, by the way, is Libya as well. While no one is watching, under the cloak, is trying very rapidly to build an atomic bomb capability. The question that you ask, I think, is vital. It's important, and that is, what do you do about it? You have to dismantle the network, and the question is, do you dismantle all of it at once? No. The first thing you did after the wake-up call on September 11th was that you took on the first regime, the obvious regime. You removed the Taliban regime and you scattered al-Qaeda, although it has not been completely destroyed yet. Now the question is, what's your next step? Knowing that 3 of these nations are developing nuclear weapons. This is not a hypothesis. It is fact. Iraq, Iran, and Libya are racing to develop nuclear weapons.
All right, a Fox News alert now. Some breaking news coming out. We've discovered something that makes the lack of security and the security lapses at the Donald Trump event in Butler, Pennsylvania, all the more glaring and literally impossible to understand. David Spunt, our Justice Department correspondent, has got the latest information. David?
Well, John, it's incredibly puzzling. We are learning right now through 2 federal law enforcement sources that in recent weeks there was a credible threat to former President Donald Trump from the Iranian regime. Now, I want to be clear that this is unrelated at this point to the alleged shooter, Thomas Crooks, the 20-year-old in Pennsylvania, who attempted to assassinate the former president on Saturday night. But we are told via 2 sources that DHS and Secret Service and others in the law enforcement and intelligence community recently, through a human source, through one very good human source, got some intel on an attempted plot to assassinate former President Trump, increased his Secret Service presence. That's why you say it's all the more glaring and all the more puzzling in recent weeks. And John, we also know that DHS has been concerned and has expressed that concern to former President Trump's team about holding outdoor rallies. He likes to hold outdoor rallies, events, sometimes pop-up events. He'll meet with people. He's out and about very frequently. And that's been something. And when I say DHS because DHS oversees the United States Secret Service. We know that, when he was president, that he received a lot of threats from Iran because of the assassination of the General Qasem Soleimani in January of 2020. And that's really continued since he's left office. But this is a particular credible threat, according to 2 sources we spoke to today, within the last 45 minutes or so, that say something made them want to increase the Secret Service presence to the former president because of this threat. And again, John, and it seems like, yes, it's all coming together at one time, but at this point, it does not seem to be related at all to Thomas Crooks. But it does pose the question, if security was increased to former President Trump because of this alleged plot out of Iran, how did this happen on Saturday in Butler, Pennsylvania, John?
Yeah, even though, as you point out, there's no connection established to the crooks at this point, why would you leave the roof uncovered if you knew that you had concerns for the president's security? It's mind-boggling, the lapse in security here and the failure.
Man, take care, man. You want to race? Hell nah. The cop's right there, man. Damn! Oh my God! Yeah.
Project Mockingbird was the project of the deep state to control us via the media, but it worked much better in an era where there were 3 broadcast networks. You didn't have to control that many properties. The reason that the narrative broke was because Goliath was focused on controlling the mainstream media properties, and it didn't think it had to care about the off Joe Rogan man cave stuff. Why should it care what a podcast was? Who cares what gets said on pirate radio, right? But that mattered a lot because people, when they realized they were being lied to and they were doing harm to themselves because of those lies, tuned out the mainstream media and they started searching for information elsewhere. The punchline is, if you want to beat the deep state, what you need to do is you need to drag Goliath onto territory he doesn't understand. That's where we win.
J.D. Vance, senator from Ohio, Blake Masters tweeted it.
You don't like that guy at all?
No.
Okay.
You heard it here first.
Uh-oh.
Vice President pick, J.D. Vance.
Why do you know that?
It's a rumor. It's not 100%, but I heard on good authority from several people that Vance is the pick for Vice President. It's a big problem.
What's the reason behind that? And when do they have, how much time do they have to announce the VP?
Well, there's no deadline, but the convention, I think, is in July or August. So typically they announce it in the month or two leading up to that. It's like June. Could happen earlier than that. They say, because it's surprising, J.D. Vance is a freshman senator from Ohio. So he's only been in office for 2 years, barely 2 years. And the other thing about him is that he was an anti-Trumper. He didn't vote for Trump in 2016. And in fact,
he's a young guy, right?
Relatively young. Yeah, I think he's like late 30s, early 40s. But he loved Obama. He voted for Evan McMullin, who is a CIA agent in 2016, who was picked by Bill Kristol. Bill Kristol's like the #1 neocon that pushed the Iraq war. He was hand-selected, and J.D. Vance voted for him. Never Trumper said Trump is a racist, a nut job, toxic, everything you can imagine back in 2016. And now they want to tap him to be the vice president.
Suck my dick, whatever you've heard about me, times it by 1,000,000, and if you think it's bad, make it worse.
What is the beast?
The beast is going to be whatever entity, a group of nations it speaks of, that will set into motion. We always talk about globalists and the globalist agenda and all these things. It will be a globalized stranglehold on the human population, that they will know where you spend your money, where you get your money. Reminds me of central bank digital currency, if something like that happens.
So I've read, I'm embarrassed, this is being recorded, I probably shouldn't admit this. I've read Revelation, actually. Sure. I tried to understand it last year. I didn't realize it said, how did I miss that? It says you can't buy or sell without the mark of the beast?
Without the mark, yes. That's
John, on the Apostle John, on some Greek island 2,000 years ago said that.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And so, so prior to technology showing up where it's at now in 2024, these things were impossible. How's that going to happen?
That's a pretty specific call, though.
Very specific. Yeah, so now all the things that need to exist physically are all here now, so that the prophecies that have been laid out could now physically manifest. Now, I don't know if that's going to be today or 100 years from now or 1,000 years from now. I don't know the answer to that, but I do know this is a new era. So when you read Revelation, you read Daniel, and you read these other prophecies, it now doesn't sound like science fiction anymore, because we see it every single day.
That is absolutely crazy.
Is that a light bulb going off or what?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I also don't quite know how I read the whole thing and didn't catch that.
Well,
because that is one of the central questions. I mean, that's like top 3 question of our current moment is, will we allow technology to take our autonomy away and, for example, control what we buy or sell? I mean, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, with the advent, we've got AI now in the mix. We've got all these things that, we already know they track us. We already know they know where we spend our money. We already know all those things.
If you are a protester on this campus and you are proud that you've been endorsed by Hamas, you are part of the problem. When you cheer on the fact that you enjoy Hamas and Hezbollah, you are yourself part of the problem.
You are Jewish?
Yes.
You are Jewish?
Yes.
Fine, no problem.
Mr. Speaker, I am proud to join with you here today in calling for the immediate resignation of the President of Colombia. She has failed her duty. She is not keeping students safe.
America's future is a series of choices.
I guess I could use a little social interaction. I hate you!
Right here. If you can communicate this product, you can make money off the product. Because look at Gaga. She's the creative director of Polaroid. I like some of the Gaga songs. What the fuck does she know about cameras?
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
I'm perfectly honest with you. I don't know of a job interview that you could have gone on and delivered the performance that was delivered by Joe Biden and gotten a job. And I'm not talking about the presidency. I'm talking about like cashier at Home Depot, like a job that you would not think, okay, that is the hardest job in the entire world.
Following the advice of my Commander-in-Chief, my South
Joe,
Korea.
what are you doing?
What are you doing?
No, don't repeat what I'm saying, you fucking idiot.
Well, I don't know who's telling you that Julian's the brains of the operation, but I mean, we're both the brains of the operation. He's smart, I'm smart. We're smart in different ways, I guess. Like, I'm smart, like playing hockey and doing things like growing dope now, and he's smarter when it comes to clear thinking and explaining things to people, and that's why we're a good team, because I'm good at the hands-on applicatory stuff, and he explains things in a clear kind of way. And when he talks, for fuck's sakes, I'm having trouble talking to you, but I am smart.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
Ever been put on the
A drag queen?
Please welcome the wickedly talented one and only Eðìţəɗ.
What would you do if, when you're okay, so he said yes would go? I don't know what you mean there, babes.
I want a bleach and tone. Like, can you do a bleach and tone for me, please? Like, smiley face emoji. And she was like, tone? A question mark. And I was like, a bleach and tone, like, a bleach and tone, like, a bleach and tone. Like,
clap if you've ever been to a fat farm. A few of you fatties.
12 hours after my shift.
The family of a Massachusetts teen who died after taking part in a spicy tortilla chip challenge has filed a lawsuit against the company that makes the chips. An autopsy determined the 14-year-old died from ingesting a high amount of capsaicin, the chili pepper extract found in those chips. The teen ate the Packy chip last year as part of a social media challenge. The family's lawsuit alleges Packy knew the chip was dangerous after other children became sick years before.
This product should never have been available to adults, let alone children. It should never have been put on the shelves. And what did they do? They kept pushing it and pushing it until poor Harris died.
In a statement, Packy said the chip's label indicated it was not intended for children or anyone with underlying health conditions.
So in America, we're being slowly poisoned. And I'm not saying that, you know, to be viral. I'm saying because I'm a chemist, you know, my undergrad degree, and because I've worked as a pharmacist, and because I've worked in a hospital, and because work for the FDA, I understand what is in everything. And when you start to look at what's being allowed here in the US and what is banned in all of Europe, all of Russia, all of China, all of Japan, is banned there but okayed here, you understand that we're being poisoned. And that's why, despite the fact that we have the most expensive healthcare system in the world, this is why we're the sickest. This is why we're the most obese. We're literally the most obese nation that has ever existed in human history.
We wait for you to get sick, and you do. Then once you are sick, we don't restore your health. The doctor gives us a toxic pill which makes us sicker and keeps us sick. We merely manage your symptoms. So we can manage your high blood pressure, we can manage your cholesterol, we can manage your pain, your arthritis pain, we can manage your diabetes. We don't cure you. The current healthcare system is a hoax. It is not a healthcare system, it is a disease management system. We need to have a revolution in healthcare.
Going to expose Disney's employee text messages about children at sexual pride parades, how Disney is sponsoring LGBTQ resources for minors, and now Disney is creating more and more gender-neutral bathrooms at their parks and businesses. And on top of this, how Disney is actively assisting with sex change surgeries for their employees and a whole lot more. Well, let's jump right into the Disney Files. In this first installment of the Disney Files, we're going to delve deep into Disney's inner workings and expose just how Disney, through its many channels, seems to promote the grooming of innocent children, and who is behind all of this madness inside the once family-friendly company that was founded by Walt Disney in 1923. You'll see how the Disney Files provides further proof of the claims of Disney's creative marketing director, that's Jeannie Giannani. We saw him in Disney Part 3 of how Disney is aggressively pushing the trans and LGBTQ agenda to innocent children, not just in the United States, but around the world. Let's take a dive into one of Disney's internal Slack channels called #DisneyPride. As you can see in this Disney Pride Slack channel, Disney employees are passing around documents of poly, swingers, virtual hangouts, pride nights, gay meetups, and even, yes, queer Zoom backgrounds that can be used when employees are on company Zoom calls. Disney employees are even passing around photos to gay pride questionnaires that are apparently being posted at the Disney Orlando offices, and posters inviting fellow Disney employees to attend name change clinics.
There's a million people in this country that would die for Trump. There's a million people in this country that would take a bullet for him. There's a million people that would have guaranteed no one could ever do that to him. And it's not Chris LaCivita, and it's not Susie Wiles, and it's not Fat Boy J.D. Vance, who voted for Evan McMullin, or any of these other that just want to get him in so he could bulldoze the West Bank for Netanyahu and keep that fucking rat in power. I hope and I pray that he's a changed man after today. And I hope he sees that the people around him truly don't give a fuck if he died. And I hope he knows that, and I hope he can see that. And I hope that's a wake-up call. That if he died today, Chris LaCivita, who was calling for the 25th Amendment, and his only message today was, get out there and vote, wouldn't give a fuck if Trump died today. They'd get right behind the next GOP person that they could sell endorsements or personnel, and fuck them. So I hope Trump knows that. I hope Trump knows there are people that would take a bullet for him.
These pussy Democrats put the money on my head. Go get your refund, motherfucker, because I ain't dead.
The U.S. government can't go bankrupt because we can print our own money.
It obviously begs the question, why exactly are we borrowing in a currency that we print ourselves? I'm waiting for someone to stand up and say, why do we borrow our own currency in the first place?
Like you said, they print the dollar, so why does the government even borrow?
Well, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why Now, the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do? They sell bonds. Yeah, they sell bonds, right? Because they sell bonds and people buy the bonds and lend them the money. Yeah, so a lot of times, at least to my ear with MMT, the language and the concepts can be kind of unnecessarily confusing, but there is no question that the government prints money and then it uses that money to, yeah, I guess I'm just, I can't really talk, I don't get it. I don't know what they're talking about, like, because it's like the government clearly prints money, it does it all the time, and it clearly borrows, otherwise we wouldn't be having this debt and deficit conversation, so I don't think there's anything confusing there.
Well, golly gee shucks, what makes you think I would give two fucks about that? Now, do you have something for me or not?
Take a look at the Daily Wire. The one person that is taking a stand against Israel and the Jewish influence is Candace Owens. Meanwhile, the white guys stay silent. Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles are good little goyim. Matt Walsh, you're such a good little Shabbos goy. No, I'm a man. I have a beard and I wear a flannel shirt. I'm a man. But when the Jews crack the whip, whoosh, whoosh, get back to work, Matt Walsh. Get back to work. Do not criticize Israel. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Ben Shapiro. Literally, and Michael Knowles, little fairy. Oh, I'm such a cool little metrosexual. I'm Michael Knowles. I'm dancing on the table like a little fairy. And he bends the knee for Israel. Candace Owens, meanwhile, is a boss bitch. She don't take no shit from nobody. What you mean? What you mean I ain't on Daily Wire? What you mean I can't do my show, bitch? That's Candace Owens. That's my impression of Candace Owens. That's my impression of Candace Owens. Candace Owens went Django. Candace Owens went Django. The D is silent, Jew. The D is silent, filth. You dirty brown cum slut.
Okay, we are cooked. Yep, we are absolutely cooked, chat.
We're announcing today $500 million more in military aid this year for Ukraine to help through this very difficult situation. We're also stepping up over the coming year on the training of fighter jet pilots to be able to take on Russia in the skies over Ukraine.
The deep state tried to kill President Trump today. They actually shot him in the side of the head. But because our God is greater than their God, we won. So please, understand that only prayer can defeat this evil. I'm going to say a prayer.
Take a look at what happened.
What about what it is that Donald Trump says? Do you guys ever, are you guys going to talk about that at all?
Yep.
It is fucking bizarre that you would say that the person who got shot in the head, his rhetoric was responsible, as though there's some justification for bad things being said to shoot someone, the leading candidate for politics, in the head.
So tonight, I'm asking every American to recommit. Make America, think about it. What's made America so special? Here in America, everyone must be treated with dignity and respect.
Think I care? Look at me. Do I look like I care? Look, just take it. Do I look like I care? Look at me. Look, no, Sharice, look at me. Do I look like I care? Look. I don't care.
Back to the negative.
Back to the negative.
Back to the. You know what? Do this interview with somebody else.
Well, we talked about this yesterday on the phone. This is exactly what we talked about.
Do the interview with somebody else. Really. Yeah, you don't need this. Do it with somebody else. And have a good time. Because frankly, you're a very negative guy. And I think it's very unfair to report it. Good luck.
I disagree with you. Sorry you feel that way.
Okay, I'll see you later.
There's nothing that we didn't discuss on the phone, Donald.
MAGA, anti-MAGA, you're looking for the same thing. You want the other to be like you, but you began as one. Like a rubber band or a circle, someone split you in two. Now you are two sides, each trying to say the other is different. When one says, I'm right, the other looks wrong. One says, I win, the other loses. But if you join the rubber band, you will see you are the same thing. There is no right or wrong, pretty or ugly, high or low, north or south, up or down. We live on the same ground. We come from the same earth. If you understand this, there is no need for hate. You don't need to make the other like you. There is no other. Don't hate. Don't fight. Love is all around.
My family, my best friend. Well, I'm sick of it. Somebody needs to pay.
Life is full of mysteries. Life is full of hardships. You said it again, sister.
Just lose it. Go crazy.